With the completion of the work in the gorge section of the Haast River, work was transferred lower down to the Clark and Douglas Bluffs, and the camp was shifted and is here seen traversing the wide river flat at the junction of the Landsborough and the Haast Rivers. This stage of the work was of two types: work on the Callender-Hamilton Bridge at Evans Flat and further road construction at Douglas Bluff and Clark Bluff near the west coast. This work shows the driving of piles at the Pleasant Flat Bridge site, again using the old tractor mounted pile driver. We were driving triple railway line lengths with about 15 feet of scour protection by steel tubing, which was later filled with concrete at the upper end of the piles. The use of the tractor mounted pile driver was still very important because the river had the ability to rise up to 15 feet in 2 or 3 hours. Following completion of the pile driving, working areas were constructed around each nest of piles in preparation for pier construction. These islands were washed away to some extent several times due to freshes in the river. Because of the two types of work underway, the only communication method was by vehicle, which also maintained contact with Dunedin. This was a weekly effort each way, towing the truck through the river, and then, following change of engine oil, the truck was able to carry on its way. There were times when the driver was required to change togs before he could continue his trip. Once the piles were completed, the islands built around each nest of piles, pier construction was the next stage, there being 4 piers to construct, and the weather was not kindly. Periods of rain, which are common in the Haast area, and work didn't stop for the weather. It was sometimes commented that this was the first bridge built by earth-moving equipment, and there was no doubt that dozers were used to a considerable extent for purposes for which they were not designed. We kept the concrete batching plant up on dry land and brought the concrete across to the piers, and there was switched across to the tractor-mounted crane to lift, to pour into the formwork. This bridge was 440 feet long in 2 central spans of 120 feet each and 2 land spans of 100 feet each. The bridge was in fact launched as the result of last-minute efforts to reduce the weight and therefore cost of the imported bridge components, and it is understood that this was the first multi-span Callender-Hamilton Bridge launched in this manner. Once the piers were completed, A large level area was prepared, sleepers and rails were laid so that the bridge itself could be assembled and mounted on skids which rode on the rails for launching purposes.